going to start telling you guys a little bit about the review that we're doing for Sleepy Hollow. We went to Sleepy Hollow last Sunday, which is October 6th, 2019. Their address is 881 Highland Road in Newtown, Pennsylvania. They have 3 attractions, which are the Sleepy Hollow Hayride, the Field of Fright, and House in the Hollow. And then some cool features that they have a really nice bonfire. They basically have like the standard food options. So they had hamburgers, chicken nuggets, hot dogs, popcorn, funnel cake, fried Oreos, and French fries, that sort of thing. That's basically it as far as the basic stuff. I'm going to have Matt talk to you guys a little bit about the attractions individually, and then, I'll give some interaction here and there, but honestly, I'm very tired, and I don't know if my brain can compute all of this right now, so I'm going to hand it over to Matt real quick, and I'll give you guys some feedback as well.
Hello. Now, I am currently driving, so just keep that in mind. I'll try to make eye contact
We are
as much
on
as
our
possible.
way to Hotel of Horror, and then we are going to Halls of Horror. That is all going to be updated on the page in a little bit. I believe we already checked into Hotel of Horror first, so we'll give you guys updates on that in a little bit.
Okay, so with Sleepy Hollow, what I'll do is I'll start from when we got there. So we got there, and we were brought through to the parking area, plenty of parking, standard haunted attraction field parking where they, give you the wave on through to where you need to park at. Then after that, we had a pretty easy walk to the entrance, where we got our tickets for the 3 attractions. We had went on, it was both a Sunday and it was towards the end of the night. We might have even been the last hayride through, so that also is one of the things to keep in mind when we're going through everything, that it was later in the day on a Sunday. So that's something where sometimes Sundays are boom or bust for haunted attractions, where they're either very, very busy or they're not very busy. And there's everything in between. And sometimes when you go, you might get people they're kind of like Megan, a little bit worn out at the end of a long weekend of acting. But when we went, we didn't run into that in any of the attractions we went to, which was excellent, especially the last attraction we went through, the actual haunted house itself. We went through in the order. Hayride, second thing was the corn maze, third thing was the house. So the hayride, we'll start off with that. Once we got our tickets and we went right in, we had a pretty quick wait in line, and then we got on to the hayride. And one of the things that is, I would say, somewhat unique about Sleepy Hollow is on their hayrides, instead of having one wagon on the back of a tractor, they actually have 2 wagons. So it allows them to fit more people on, and that way it also, I would say, gives you a little bit more elbow room, so you're not crammed in with like 50,000 people, and you can't move to look at any of the set pieces or actors, if there's actors on either side. So that was definitely a solid point there. Also on their wagons, they also have these, what do you call them, cages? What would you call those things, like cages or...
What, the fence around it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just a standard railing. It's
it's very high up, so it goes from the bottom of the hayride up taller than a person. I don't know how.
Maybe 10 feet, maybe more.
Yeah, it's very tall.
And with that, that's something where, as far as any haunt I've been to, I've never seen that. So until I see it again, then we can say that's already one unique thing about Sleepy Hollow in Newtown that we can definitely say without a doubt. So once we waited, and since we were the last wagon of the night, we hung around for a couple of extra minutes to make sure that there weren't any other people who were still needing to ride the hayride. Then when we finally got both the wagons loaded up and ready to go, we were off. And the hayride started off with a lot of cool sets, and with it being Sleepy Hollow, eventually one of the sets you're going to see is the Headless Horseman. And we'll get to that soon. And with with all three attractions, with the hayride to some extent, excluding a couple of scenes, with the corn maze and with the house, they stuck with a similar theme of the old, maybe Victorian area would even be dating it improperly, but just like whenever you think of Sleepy Hollow, whenever you think of the Headless Horseman, Ichabod Crane, the whole deal, you think of a certain period of American history, whether it be and I'm driving, so don't quote me on this, the 1700s or the 1600s or the 1500s, or that general time range of history. And there's a certain dress that goes along with that. There's certain surroundings. The sets are going to look a certain way, and they had a lot of those cool sets, including when the actual horseman comes out. And let's see, what other great sets did they have in the hayride? They also had...
They had a ship. They had a ship, which was really cool. You remember that one?
Yep, with the cannon blast that scared you.
Scared me.
I really like that. I always like anything that makes her jump or makes her go, ah! Because it's rare when that happens.
They had a cool freak show
big
one.
cannon on the side of the ship, and it fires right at you. Obviously, no cannonball in there, but it fires right at you. It's definitely a cool scene, and I believe there's an actor up on the deck that was interacting with people. And there's a lot of other unique actor interactions that go along with their hayride because of the cages or the
railing or whatever.
Railings. I'm just going to refer to them as
railings.
cages just to make it easier. So if you hear me say cages, that's what I'm talking about. But they would actually climb on there, and they would climb through the bars, and some of them would even hang by their legs and hang down backwards. And that was really cool, especially when they're up high and they're dangling down by their legs. That was a really, really nice touch. And I had gone to Sleepy Hollow a couple of years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was 2017 or 2016, but it was either 2016 or 2017, one of those years. And that's one thing that I remembered specifically was the fact that the actors were hanging down by their legs, down upside down, and also when I went last time, they had a really, really good corn maze. So they had a few other sets. What other sets did you really like, or what other parts of the hayride did you like?
I liked the freak show circus section. I liked the drive-in movie section.
Yes.
I liked the Hangman's Noose section. I know you really liked that one too. That's the one that's really long. It had all like the hanging like skeletons and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. And that was on that straightaway before we made the turn towards where the Headless Horseman was, and there was another. I guess it's not going to spoil it too much. There's a couple of other unique scares there. There's some haunted attractions that will use fake cars that turn on their lights and hit the horn really loud when you go by, whether they're automatically triggered or if it's actually someone manning that to turn the lights on their high beams and hit the horn at you. They took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It had in the one there was a car with what looked like maybe like almost like a popcorn box on the top, or like a present with a psychotic clown guy coming out of there, and the car's coming after the hayride, and the clown's hanging out of there, and he's all crazy. So that was a really cool scene. Then also another one towards the end was that big the army truck towards the end, and that kept like lunging at us, and that was really cool because it didn't just come out at us and then back in for the next wagon to go. It actually followed us along.
Yeah, and it looked like it was going to hit us too.
And that was another really cool one as well. Some nice pyro on one of the scenes there, and that was a scene that wowed both of us. Let's see, that's the hayride.
Yeah.
They had a couple of other scenes where you go indoors for a second. You go, if anyone's been to haunted attractions, you always know that sometimes there's buildings you go through where you stop, and then there's a actor interaction, and that was pretty cool. There's also a nice clown scene that we stopped on, and obviously the clowns are on both sides of the wagon, and then they enclose it on the wagon. They're climbing on the bars and hanging down, and that was an excellent scene in the hayrides. And we got back to the Midway area. Then we made our way to we took a few pictures. We took a look at the bonfire. Then we made our way to the corn maze.
Yeah.
And the corn maze was another
Field of Fright.
Field of Fright. Field of Fright is the name of the next attraction. And Field of Fright, I would have to do a little bit of research to see if that was the same name given to that portion when I went a couple of years ago, or if it changed since. If it changes annually, I'll have to do a little bit more digging to figure that out. But that is always a very, very well done corn maze. Even down to the fact that when you're walking in there, you're not tripping over corn stalks. You're not worried about, am I going to stumble over something, or what exactly am I stepping on? Are my shoes going to get really muddy? Because that can be the case with some corn mazes, but they took a lot of extra steps to make sure that that's not one of your concerns. They had, I believe it was, obviously you can't shine a flashlight in there, but I believe it was either mulch or possibly
it smelled like mulch.
At first I thought it was rubber mulch. Sometimes you'll see in places where they'll ground up old tires and they'll turn that into mulch that's more long term, but I believe it did have that like mulchy smell to it, so I think it was mulch there. And then the pathway was also lit as well, and like I said, continuing with the theme of the other. I'll wait for the fire truck to go by. There he goes. Go put out some fires or save someone from a burning building. And okay, so we're in the Field of Fright. 1700s, like old colonial, or that's a good term for it, colonial era, which fits with the whole surrounding area that that Spooky Hollow is in. That whole area of Pennsylvania, specifically of Bucks County, is historic because it's where General Washington's army, at that point, the not yet American, the USA Army in the Revolutionary War, passed through that area to cross the Delaware River, and in the Battle of Trenton, at a place that's probably no more than 10-15 minutes drive, they crossed the river, what's now called Washington's Crossing, on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, in the middle of an ice storm and snow, and attacked it was actually Hessian forces there, I believe. I don't think there's any British force. There's mainly Hessians, which were German and other Prussian mercenaries, and it was a great victory that helped turn the tide for the budding United States Army under Washington's command. So that whole area has the colonial era historic thing built in, kind of like with other places where Pennhurst Asylum, which is another one that we went to earlier this year. You can check out our reviews for that on our Facebook, YouTube, or our website. And that's another thing where they have the history built in, and they could use that. They could use that to their advantage. Same thing with Eastern State Penitentiary and their surroundings. They have something that they can go off of and build off of. So I'm very glad to see Sleepy Hollow in Newtown doing the same as well, and giving it that old colonial vibe. then there's a lot of good scenes in the corn maze. It did not disappoint once again.
Oh,
and
so good.
There was a lot of great actor interaction, especially one scene, and it was probably I think one of yours, if not your favorite scene in the corn maze or in the Field of Fright. So I'll let you go over that one and cover that one, and then if you have any other thoughts about the Field of Fright, add them on in there, and then I'll finish up, and then we'll move on to the house.
Okay, so Field of Fright was really, really well done. Overall, I really I liked, in general, the pathway that they had made. So normally when you go into a corn maze, you have to worry about, like Matt said, tripping over tripping over corn. This one was so well executed. It was the most perfect atmosphere. They had little lanterns that were lit all along the walkway. It was very, very pretty, very calm atmosphere, but it was really, really spooky and haunting as well. And then what Matt was just saying, my personal favorite scene, as you guys know, based on all of our other videos and our logo, I'm obsessed with anything like creepy toy or creepy doll related. And they had this really, really cool scene that involved puppets. I don't really want to spoil too much for you, but it's a very immersive scene. The actors interact with you and then bring you into a set. And there's a lot of really, really cool, what you could tell it was some kind of, I don't know if it's paper mache, these puppets were definitely made. They were not bought from Trans World or something like that. They are handmade props that they had done, I guess, for Sleepy Hollow. So that was my personal favorite. What do you have to say about that scene?
I really like that, like you said, without going into too many spoilers of what's there. That's something that we always like, when we could tell that there are homemade set designs or homemade props that are done really well. That's something that we always look for. We'll nerd out, and especially Megan is like Rain Woman when it comes to, oh, I saw that at Transworld a couple years ago when we go somewhere, or that's the such and such I saw. With all the stuff at Sleepy Hollow, it was definitely there's a lot of stuff where you could tell they built it, and it was built well. It was convincingly built, especially the house, which we'll be getting on to soon. We're saving that for last. That's the last one we went through.
So good.
When we went there, and in this case, it's definitely the best for. We're saving the best for last. That was the most. Well, hold on a second. We're getting there in a moment. So the Field of Fright, like you said, I can't say it enough how well it was done, how well it was executed this year, as well as it was a couple years ago when I went. It's always consistently good. The actor involvement was great, cool and inventive, and non-common sets. It's not the same set you see everywhere
Not
else,
at all.
or the same grouping of sets. It's not something that you've seen really much of anywhere else, if anywhere else, and the unique factor brings up their score a lot. And then after we got through the Field of Fright, the next one was the third and final attraction, and I would say it was my favorite by far out of all of them. And
it's called The House in the Hollow, but their theme was the orphanage. I'm not sure if that's always their theme, but that's what it was this year.
It's almost like a two-parter.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was.
Where there was the orphanage, and then I believe an asylum part to it.
That's how they spoke about it, at least.
And you take a little bit of a walk down the field from the boarding area for the boarding area for the hayride. Then you go down towards the house, and they have like a tent with an area where you have to, instead of signing a waiver or anything like that, or signing the rights to your life away, you're actually signing, what was it, adoption papers.
It was really cool.
That's another unique thing where haven't ever seen that before, and it was
We got to keep the
a
paper,
real
too,
nice
which was
touch.
really cool.
And it was something where we thought we were gonna have to turn them into someone, but then eventually at a certain point you turn them into someone and they're used later. And just everything about the house was just so good. The sets, and especially for something that's indoors, the sets felt big and they felt real.
Real.
They didn't feel like what I'll sometimes jokingly refer to like the Tunnel of Farts, if anyone's ever seen South Park, where it's a really old South Park and they go to like a theme park, or they go to a fair or carnival, or like a school fundraiser carnival or something, and the carnival barker says, "Dare you enter the Tunnel of Farts," and then they wait forever to go on that ride. And then once they go on, they're strapped into a little cart, and they just go around a couple of turns, and there's like a fake Dracula that pops out and goes, "Blood!" And they're like, "I want to drink your blood." And then they just come through, and then they're like, "Oh, wow, that was terrible." With everything about what they did in the house, it can't be said enough that it was a very thoroughly constructed set. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of illusions and effects that I have never seen in any other haunted attraction ever. And some of them are very high tech too, and professional actors as well, and that sold the whole story even more.
It was very theater-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, like a theater production. Like you're immersed into a like a skit, like a mini like skit.
Yes. And I think another thing, at least in my book, that gives that extra points is the ability to construct that story all the way through to the logistics that go into finding people to fill those positions and training them and making sure that they are hitting their marks, that they're not just that their makeup is done right and that they're standing in the right spot, but that they're delivering their lines to the best of their ability, and that they're really selling their position as this character or that character, or the creepy dead person, or the whatever. But it's just so well done. And that's one of the things, every single room we went into, we were just wow. Every single room. One of them where someone even comes out of a mirror, that, you see a mirror, and I won't go too specific into things or tell you what room it's in, but one thing where when you first look at it, it looks like a normal mirror, and then all of a sudden you see something coming out of it towards you.
They did an illusion with you at one point too. Well, you don't want to ruin it too much, but they took Matt away from me in a scene and put him somewhere, and then did this illusion thing, and he completely disappeared, and it was like I had no idea where he went. He like disappeared literally into thin air. It was the most wild thing. And then they had me continue on without him, and then eventually he miraculously like popped up. But just like the execution of everything, that's just one of the tons of illusions and interactive experiences that house offered. There were so many of them, like jam-packed. Everything, it almost, so if you guys have ever been to Disney, which I'm sure a bunch of you have, it's like going through a walking version of the Haunted Mansion. Kind of like to that extent of the illusions and the special effects, and the kind of even that like time era too. It was so well done. It was so cool. There's even a room that reminds me of the entrance when you go into the Haunted Mansion, where they have all the paintings and then the room stretches. I almost felt like they were like making a nod to Disney in the Haunted Mansion in that scene, and I was waiting for the walls to start expanding up like they do in the Haunted Mansion. That's how well done this haunt was. Like, the execution was ridiculous.
And it's something where like I said, every single room, it wasn't the kind of attraction where there's one or two good rooms and you're just like, oh yeah, there's that one room that was pretty good, then you just kind of forget about all the other stuff. There's every single part of it that you go through, there is there's something about that room that's memorable, and it's not always the same thing. It's not always, oh, the actors were really good, or it had a really cool effect there, or didn't see that coming, or wow, that's a nice touch. Every single room was just, it's one of those kind of things, I would say.
It was so good. Yeah, it was so good.
It was so good. Like that in and of itself is worth the price of admission alone. The house alone is worth the price of admission.
It was so good. And then after you get out of the orphanage, you kind of go down a trail and you go to a path that it kind of ends up bringing you through a bunch of different scenes that lead to like an abandoned tomb. Like you go through a desolate cemetery and a bunch of different underground sets. You get buried alive at one point.
Yes.
And then that section leads you into this most glorious, elaborate, beautiful tomb. Like this, it looked so real. Like I can't even explain to you how beautifully done. Like I felt like I was in some ancient Egyptian or some kind of like Romanian vampire's lair or something that had been untouched for thousands and thousands of years, and the construction of all the tombs, and it looked so real, and it had this authentic creepy factor of just like isolation and abandonment, and it was so surreal. It was so real, and it was beautifully done. The entire time Matt and I were walking through, like looking at each other, and like our jaws were dropped, and we were in awe of how beautifully done these sets were.
Yeah, and that's something where all the way through that attraction till the end, it was just so good all around. It's something where I can't wait to see what they do with that in future years. It's definitely something that, especially where we're located in the part of Pennsylvania we're located in, it's a reasonable drive from where we are. It's not something, and we've driven just in the past couple years as upwards of 6 hours to go places, maybe even more. I'd have to check and see exactly how long it took us to get up to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a 6-hour drive. New England, that was a long drive to get up there.
I thought Pittsburgh was farther.
It might have been. I'm trying to think back as far as like, because we hit traffic on the way up there, but anyway.
Both of them were far. They were not right down the street.
Yeah, and to have something like this, something that is just so all around well done, close to us, is a very exciting thing. And they have been established there for, what was it? It was well over 20 years.
I don't remember the exact
close
years.
To maybe even 30. We're going to be giving you more information as the time unfolds about Sleepy Hollow, since it is close to us, and since it is one of the, you could call it a more veteran hunt. Mm-hmm. It's not something that's in their first few years or even their first decade of existence. Mm-hmm. It's definitely something that we want to really dig into and find out more about, and see, how have they evolved over the years. So stay tuned for more on Sleepy Hollow in Newtown. Overall, I would say it's something, if you're in the Philadelphia area, if you have not picked out a haunted attraction to go to, and you want to see a really, really well done house, a really, really well done corn maze, and a very unique and well done hayride, then this is a great place to go to. That's really all I could think of as far as what I have to say for now. I mean, we'll go over some other stuff, maybe some other thoughts about food options. I know you went over some of the basics, but other stuff like that, like intangibles or miscellaneous stuff that we like to put in our review. So I'll kick it back over to you, Megan, and
yeah, guys, that's basically it. I just wanted to let you know that we will be releasing the full interview, or I'm sorry, not interview, the full review like we have been doing the past couple weeks. Things have been super, super, super busy on my end between my full-time job and doing fear stuff. So we are trying to get the most effective reviews out to you as quickly as possible. So that will be out to you as soon as possible. Tomorrow we're going to be doing another review on Headless Horseman Hayrides in Ulster Park, New York. This weekend we're hitting Hotel of Horror tonight and Halls of Horror tonight. Both are in Pennsylvania. Then tomorrow we're hitting Reaper's Revenge, and that's also in Pennsylvania. We did go there 2 weeks ago. It was that amazing that we are going back again. We're going to do some interviews with some of the staff for you guys so you can meet some of the awesome characters they have. You can go ahead and check out on our Facebook page the pictures that we took from their media night. They came out so good. They're featured in one of my most recent posts if you want to go back and take a look at that. And then on Sunday we're going to be hitting Brighton Asylum, which is in Passaic, New Jersey, and we're really, really excited about that. The owner is a good friend of ours. They do such an amazing job at that haunt. So stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of good stuff coming your way. Next week we're doing our giveaway for Field of Screams and Reaper's Revenge. So if those are two haunts that you've been dying to go to and you want to get some free tickets and some free merch, stay tuned and we will let you know how you can get involved with that. But otherwise, that's it for now, guys, and we will... Oh, wait, Matt has something.
I just remembered with Sleepy Hollow, Haunted Acres in Newtown, one of the other unique things that we actually discovered is on their, I believe it's their Instagram page, and if I was not driving I'd have the handle for you, but it's easy to find. Quick Google search, or you go to their Facebook page, I'm sure you can find it. Go to their website, I'm sure you can find their Instagram handle. But they have a lot of their of just art, not pictures of their attractions, but in some cases they're artistically done, or they are stylized to make everything more creepier, to seem more rustic, and that's something unique in and of itself. And that was also another thing that obviously you can tell a lot of effort went into that, so it deserves mention. That their Instagram is fantastic. Even if anyone who's watching us, even if it's too far away, if you're watching from a different time zone or different side of the world, then at least go on there and follow them on social media, on Instagram, like them on Facebook, visit their website, and if you go there, share with a comment on this video, depending on where you're watching it, or an email to us, share your feedback. If you went, let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we missed anything, if we left anything out of the review, if there's anything you'd like us to add, if there's any opinions you have. Comment, share the video, put it up on your Facebook, blast it out through Twitter, tell a friend about Sleepy Hollow in Newtown, tell a friend about Fear of Fright Experience, our website, our YouTube, our Facebook, or our Instagram, or our Snapchat. That's about it. That's as Matt signing off here for you.
And we'll see you later, guys. Bye.